All right, good morning. It is Wednesday, May 6th at 2020 at approximately 11:01 a.m. And I will call this meeting of the Englewood-McClellan Reservoir Foundation to order. Lorraine, if you could go around and identify who's in attendance, please.
Okay, Maria Deandra,
Here.
Dorothy Hartgrove,
Present.
Brad Power,
Here.
Peter Van Rye,
Here.
Allison McKinney Brown,
Here.
and Maria Sabata is absent. Okay, we have a quorum.
All right. So in keeping with the protocol for our various online meetings, it is important and required that the various board members of EMRF stay on and are visible on the screen during the entire call. All right, we do have several agenda items. I do also will have to step out at 11:30. I received a call from a citizen who needs to talk with me, and their only available time is at 11:30. So we'll buzz through this, and if I can't, I'll turn it over to Dorothy if I have to step out. But we should be able to make our way through this. So our first item of business is approval of the minutes from the December 18th meeting. I don't know if everybody's had a chance to look at those.
I have, and I move that we approve them as presented.
I will second.
All right. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, Lorraine, if you could take the roll, please.
Okay, Maria Deandra,
Aye.
Dorothy,
Aye.
Brad,
Aye.
okay,
You can ask Peter too, but I don't know if Peter, if you want to abstain.
I'll
or not.
abstain.
Yep. Okay. All right. So that passes 3 with 1 abstention. I do want to follow up. Maureen, if you could send Maria an email and ask her if we've received the $50,000 payment. That was, I know we sent the request letter. I just want to verify that we have received the money that was in those minutes.
okay.
All right. So our first item of business is, you can go back up to the agenda instead of looking at the document. So, well, I guess I'll open it up for anybody from the public who may be attending. I don't see anybody on the line.
And no comments were received either via email.
All right. So we'll go into new business. So first is the chair transition. So per the bylaws, the Director of Utilities is the chair for this group. And so we've invited Peter to attend this meeting. So beginning today, he will take over. I'll still be involved to basically close out Plaza Circle and that construction project. I'm also working with our outside legal counsel on a contract for their services, but otherwise I'm really transitioning everything over to Peter effective today.
Okay. Hey, Maria, do you stay on the board?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do you want to continue through the remainder of this meeting since you have the knowledge on these? Can I have you do that and then take over the next meeting?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's do that.
Okay. So the second item there is approval of change order number 2 for Plaza Circle construction. So if you could click on the maps, Lorraine. Yeah, so this shows the, can you make it just a titch smaller so we can see the whole page? Okay, okay.
That works.
Then make it full screen again.
Still not doing it.
So up at the top, yeah, if you go down to maybe 100% or something. Okay, so this, north is kind of down and to the left. So Plaza Circle is basically this circular road that connects to Plaza Drive. So the phase 1 and constructed back in 2017. We did kind of the west, I guess it'd be the northwest end. You can kind of see here, I don't have my thing doesn't work, but you can kind of see that half circle down there. That was where the cul-de-sac ended. And so we removed that cul-de-sac and then basically paved the rest of the way up to as part of phase 2. So we're just completing phase 2. All of the work is done. We're actually completing just the punch list work, which involves some asphalt and concrete elements, and that should be done this weekend. On the very north page here, we do connect into the Children's Hospital service entrance. So a lot of this has been involving, coordination with them to make sure that they're not restricted from access to for service deliveries for a long period of time. But the asphalt does run into there a little bit. So hopefully we should be done within the next few days here. The change order that you have before you is primarily for reconditioning work. So the subsurface dirt below some of the pavement on this upper end did not meet the profile requirements for Douglas County. So we're building this in Douglas County like we're a developer. So it's not being built per City of Englewood standards, it's per Douglas County. So they have an inspector out on site, and they actually rejected some of the via proof roll, they rejected some of the subsurface, and we had to do reconditioning work. So this is related to that. The first change order was also related to that, and basically we've run into poorer soils than we anticipated and have had to do some of that work. If you could go to the next page down, it also shows kind of a larger map, and then zoom in on this. Yeah, just go up to that 75% and make that like 125 or something. Yeah, okay. So you can see here where the Plaza Circle is in relation to Children's Hospital is over there, kind of up and to the right. And then this shows a schematic of that future RTD rail station, which is to the right there, basically, where the clicker is. So with that, I'd stand for any questions.
And the amount is approximately, I thought it was around 13,000. Is that what it is?
Yeah, 13, if you could go up to the memo, Lorraine. So the change order number 2 is for $13,014.25.
Okay, well, if nobody has any questions, I'll make a motion that we authorize this change order number 2 in the amount of $13,014.25.
Okay,
I'll
thank you.
second.
All right, second from Dorothy. So we have a motion and a second. Lorraine, if you could take roll, please.
Maria DeAndre,
Aye.
Brad Power,
Aye.
Dorothy Hargrove,
Aye.
Peter?
Peter,
Aye.
Okay. So the next item is an easement with Excel. So let's go down to the map first. Yeah, so right here. So this is on the eastern edge of Lucent Boulevard in the southwest quadrant with Park Central Drive. So this is part of the Shea development where we lease them some land and there's ongoing development work out there. This is basically on the north side of the Super Target, and there's just been a lot of development. So there's a series of improvements that were made underground, sewer, water, and in this case, Excel did some installation, but they cut the corner essentially and put in one of their lines outside of their prescribed easement. So we have the option of either telling them to relocate it, or we can give them this additional easement. My recommendation is to give them the easement because it's already underlined. If you look there where that blue mark is, this is the area that we would give to them. But then the dashed line shows where there's already an existing sewer and water easement. So it's basically already encumbered by underground utilities, and we'd just be encumbering it further for this Excel easement. So with that, I'd stand for any questions.
Did they purchase the easement?
They did not.
Do we typically, in this board, sell easements, or do we just grant them?
We did not, as far as I could see. So this was done like in 2016 or 2017. It does not look like we sold it to them.
Yeah, Peter, what I would say is if this or any future easement would have any type of development value that we would be foregoing, then I could see us talking about a transaction. But in this case, as Maria said, it's kind of encumbered by other easements already. So I don't think there's really much real estate or monetary value associated with this 83 square foot parcel. So
Okay. Do we have to do like a $10 transaction amount or something like that?
We list, I think it's the next page, Lorraine, if you scale down, they did put the easement language in here. I don't know if it says it. Can you zoom in more? I can't read it. So it should say the first sentence.
Maria, this is Mike Miller.
Oh, hi, Mike.
Is this easement on the parcel that we have leased? Or
Yeah.
is it-
Mm-hmm.
So we, under our lease, we're obligated to assist them with any easements they need, but we should not be granting the lease, the easement, we should simply be consenting to it, because we have no control over that ground. And I'm sure, I haven't read it, but I'm sure the easement will have certain obligations to the grantor, not to build over it, not to obstruct it. We don't want to be subject to those. That easement should be granted by our ground lessee, and we as the ground lessor should simply consent to it.
I'm sorry, Mike. I couldn't make that out. Could you repeat that and go maybe slower?
Since we've already leased this ground,
Okay.
we don't control it.
Oh,
Our
okay.
tenant controls it.
Hmm.
And while I haven't read the easement, this is the first I'm seeing it. I'm certain that it has certain obligations in the easement that the grantor, the person granting the easement, is obligated to follow, such as not obstructing the area,
Yeah.
etc. So it's been our practice that we, as the ground lessor, since we don't control the property, that we don't be the grantor, but that we have the tenant grant the lease, and we as the lessor simply consent to it. So that we acknowledge that the property is subject to the easement, but we're not taking on those burdens and obligations.
Okay. I think when I talked with the person from Excel, they were coming to us because we're the underlying landowner, and they
That's
only
right. That's
they
right.
thought we were the ones who could grant the easement.
What I'm telling you is that in similar situations, and including public service,
Okay.
we have consented to it, but not been the grantor. I don't think it's set up correctly.
Okay.
But I'd be happy to talk to the easement guy that you're working with at public service.
Sure.
I just don't think that EMRF wants to be in a position of being obligated to perform things that we can't perform since we don't control the ground.
Gotcha. And I did not, Mike, review our lease agreement with Shea, so it very well could be that in that we assign those rights over to them or
So
responsibility.
that's why we don't charge for it, because
Okay.
it's part of our lease obligation.
Okay. All right, so I would say given that information, let's table this item, and it may come back for not.
Agreed.
okay.
Yep.
Okay, let's go back up to the agenda. Thanks, Mike, for weighing in on that.
Yeah, I'm sorry I joined a minute or two late, and I'm gonna have to, as I mentioned to you earlier, I'm gonna have to sign off shortly.
No problem.
I wanted to say hello to everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody's doing well. I'm sorry, I have a screen that does not have a camera on. I don't have a video.
All right. All right. So the next item is amendment of the bylaws. So I'll turn it over to Allison.
So I'm going to let Lorraine pull up the bylaw amendment. Okay, scoot back one page, this. So what I did was, at your direction, I went through and changed those paragraphs of the existing bylaws that had outdated members of the board and put in the correct names. And can you scroll down a little bit, Lorraine? And discuss the vacancy issue, which is an ongoing issue and concern with both EF and EMRF, and made it clear that an interim can be named by the city manager. So those are the two changes I made. And Lorraine, I'm going to ask you to scroll up a little bit to paragraph 1. There's a mistake here, though. I put such amended bylaws shall be known as the first amended bylaws of Inglewood, and that actually would be the second amended bylaws of Inglewood, because the first amendment was, it's actually attached right below this. So that would, if this is something that you want to do, you'd need to adopt this with the correction of paragraph 1, second amended bylaws.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had read through this when you sent them out, so I think this looks good. And so basically with Dorothy's departure at the end of the month, then we have an opportunity or a mechanism to fill that position.
Who makes the recommendation? Do we make a recommendation to the city manager, or does Sean just pick someone?
You know, none of us have been involved in this situation where it's actually come up, Peter. So Mike might know. When the situation arose with Eve, Dorothy just stepped into the role as the city manager, and that would be fine, that the city manager or deputy manager can serve as a director until the position is filled. Anyway, but we've never come to the position of making a recommendation about anyone else participating.
Usually it's been filled fairly automatically, and that is that the person holding the title obviously is the person who is the board member. When that position is vacant, then there's an acting person. The person who is acting has stepped into that position until a permanent person has been selected. So I don't believe that the city manager has actually appointed anybody, in my recollection, as vacancies occurred. It's always been whoever was acting in that position. That's not to say the city manager can't, but I think it's a matter of practice. That's what's occurred in the past.
Okay. Allison, in that paragraph 4-A, do you want to keep that as assistant city manager, or should we consider that as deputy city manager?
Since the position title's been changed to deputy, I think that should be changed to deputy.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And its assistant is repeated in paragraph 4G below.
Yeah,
Sorry, I didn't pick up on that one.
it's okay.
We'll just be consistent in the nomenclature, but I think the rest of it looks clear, and I appreciate the changes.
Yep.
So do we need a motion to approve it with changes?
Yes, please.
Oh, so I move to approve the amendment with changes as noted.
Okay, motion by Peter. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, second by Brad. Any further discussion? Okay. All those in favor, please call up the roll.
Maria DeAndre,
Aye.
Dorothy Hargrove,
Aye.
Brad Power,
Aye.
Peter Van Rye,
Aye.
Great. Okay, that passes 4-0. Thank you.
Maria, I'll make those changes today and forward that back to you for your signature.
Okay.
And wait a second. It's signed by the chair. I think I forwarded it to Peter for his signature,
Okay.
correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
I'll look for it.
All right, so we'll go back up to the agenda. So the next item is just more, the next two are basically informational. So item E is Mike Ward tenant lease. This was actually Mike Miller, our legal counsel, has reviewed this, and Allison's been involved in this too. So basically, per our lease agreement with that tenant, we have to approve any construction modifications. And so they recently did some, and they're trying to get our signature on those documents so that they can close at the bank. The construction improvements have already been completed. Our legal counsel has reviewed that, and they're acceptable for our signature. We're just waiting for the final executable documents from their banker. So once I receive those, I'll have Peter sign, notarize, and get back to them. So not
Do you have any
a
ETA on those? Because it was a huge rush, and now it's hurry up and wait.
Yeah, exactly. So it was, yeah, rush, and then, oh, wait, we'll send you the documents when we're ready. So I have not heard a thing.
Okay.
So I will forward those as soon as we get them.
Okay.
Just so we don't confuse everybody, it's not so much that we approve changing construction, because we don't want to be involved in their, what they build, their improvements, et cetera. What this really was that the bank requires the ground lessor
Oh, okay.
to acknowledge certain rights that the bank has, because that's their collateral, not our interest, but the tenant's interest. And so
Gotcha.
it was with regard, that's why it was with regard to their financing. And I'm not surprised. They built this before they ever closed their construction loan, because it got tied up after, well, I don't know why it got tied up, but this is the second time around where they've built something and then borrowed the money later to pay for it. I'm sure, Peter, you're right. It's always a rush, and then once we sign off, you sit and wait until they get back to you. That's my course.
Sounds good. Okay. So wait and see. So that was that one. So then we'll move on to potential leases update under F there. And this map just shows an overall of the property and kind of the open parcels. Yeah, thank you. So we have been, oh, and there it shows, actually, this is a good picture. So it shows there at the bottom that Shea lease. So that little road that goes into the oval circle, that's right at the very corner with Lucent. Go to the left, Lorraine, with your hand. Right there is where that little easement was, right at the very, very corner there. So we'll follow up on that. But the parcels that we're still, so if you go up and to the left to lot 4 where it says there, that's Plaza Circle right around that parcel. And that's lot 4 and lot 5 is what we've actively been marketing within the development community. So we did have fairly recently, kind of before all this COVID stuff was going on, we've had interest from a developer to use lot 4 as for a potential hotel site. We had kind of a flurry of emails and phone conference call with him. I believe that was in early to mid-February, and we have not seen anything since. So given the results of the COVID and of course how that's impacted the hotel industry, I'm sure that's affecting the interest in this parcel right now for a future hotel development. He did have some pretty cool products that this developer had already done similar hotels in other areas of the country. sort of the Marriott and Hyatt, kind of those medium grade developments. Mike, did you have something? Okay. So no update on that. Lot 5, we were talking with a potential developer about sort of a facility that would be kind of like a Topgolf, but in a different vein. We have not heard back from them in several months either. There was a fair amount of regrading that was necessary on that site. So you can see just to the north of that parcel, the off-ramp from C470. So right at the edge of that parcel, it kind of tails off. So there would have been needs for some grading and probably retaining wall work there in order to make that more developable. So then the most recent inquiry that's come in, I was talking with our commercial broker yesterday. So there's currently a retail interest down in the Highlands Ranch area, just to the south and east here, who wants to build a light industrial. They're kind of like a popcorn company. They want to consider 1 acre for a potential development for light industrial, where they would be one of the tenants along with potentially 2 or 3 other. We are steering them to one of the smaller lots on the north side of C470, since 4 and 5 probably aren't zoned for light industrial, and we want to keep those parcels for a larger interest. So we're looking at probably lots 1 or 2 up along the edge of County Line Road over there, something like that. So our broker has gone back to them with our cost, our estimated cost, that this is a lease, not a buy opportunity. And then, you know, so we'll wait and see from them if they're interested to take that further. We also have, if you move your scroll to the left there, or excuse me, to the right, Lorraine, over by this green parcel. There you go. That's where the caretaker's house is. That's owned by the city. And that's where the caretaker's house sits for the reservoir. And the 2 parcels to the left were in discussions with a restaurateur about possibly leasing them, or, you know, for very low cost to do like a organic kind of farm garden concept on there. So I've reached out, or they've reached out to me, and I'll be connecting back with them. Dan Paremba has kind of been the contact for this. So, you know, those are fairly unusable lots. If you ever drive that way, you can see just where they sit in relation to County Line Road. And so I don't envision that could be a potential development, but you never know. So I think in a short term, you know, the next 2 to 3 years, that's a very viable kind of option if we wanted to consider that. So we still need to flesh that out with the restaurateur, and if that's of interest to them, and if they have not even been out to the site yet. So we'll circle back. I'll help Peter kind of negotiate that or start those conversations further.
They need to visit with the county too.
Yes, exactly. So that's on the south side of County Line Road, so it is within Douglas County.
Does the city of Inglewood maintain any kind of lease agreement for that caretaker's property with EMRF?
Not that I've ever seen.
Mike? Let me get with Mike and figure out if there should be something there.
Yeah, it's called out in a different color. So the underlying owner is the city, not EMRF.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So we've had very little interest. So I think one of the discussion points for, you know, with city council in the future, Brad's talked about this, is, you know, re-engaging with them the idea of long-term lease with the option to buy. And does that make these parcels more viable for development? So I think that's a worthwhile conversation, you know, to bring back to council at some point here in the future. Because I know we'd have a lot more interest likely in lots 4 and 5 there if that was the case.
Well, I don't think I'd go out on too much of a limb. Obviously not now, but in the previous 2 years of the real estate cycle, if there were options to purchase them, all of those would probably have been leased by now.
Yeah.
And I think once COVID slows down a little, keeping
Yeah.
fingers crossed.
Oh, she froze, but I know where she was
Froze.
going. Let's take a
Mhm.
look at it. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, is there any more questions about that?
Thanks for the update, Maria. It's appreciated.
Yep. And if you ever get a chance to drive down there, it's really interesting. So this map is still really outdated because there's a lot of parcels just even to the right of the Larry Miller that kind of highlighted one in the blue that have already been developed more. So it's just that whole north side is basically full. And with the widening of C470, it's really developed around there. That whole Shea Lease piece is just, and the pieces to the right of there is all retail and condos, townhouses, that sort of thing.
Are all those pieces, is that some other ownership or is that ours as well?
No, that's Shea. But yeah, then they leased that blue piece from us. And
Okay,
then they own the piece to the north too of that.
so they're
oval.
probably, are they interested in buying that piece?
They probably would, but we just leased it to them.
Yeah, okay.
That was part of the swap for the Children's Hospital development where they got the fee rights to the hospital site in exchange for the lease on this one.
Oh, okay.
Because yeah, I'm sure the hospital wouldn't have gone in under just a lease with no buy option.
Okay.
Sounds good. All right, so with that, is there any other new business to consider? If not, I'd recommend adjournment.
When is our next meeting?
These are called on an ad hoc basis, basically when we have items to discuss.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
All right.
next one is generally a few months out, something like that. Is that generally how often it has
On average,
historically
yes.
occurred?
Yeah, every couple of months typically. Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah. All right,
Okay.
with that, I'll adjourn the meeting at 11:33 a.m. Thank you very much.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Bye.